Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are going to be taking a look at Strategic Command. Yeah, I'm blanked for a second there. Strategic Command American Civil War, which we're actually playing the DLC Imperial Sunrise, which is about the Russo-Japanese War. The DLC is free for anybody who owns the base game, Strategic Command American Civil War. It's the second of the free DLCs. There's also a campaign for the Franco-Prussian War that's free. And then there's a paid DLC called Wars in the Americas, which looks at the Spanish-American War, the Mexican-American War, some of the wars between various South American countries like Chile and Peru and Bolivia. I think it was Peru, but certainly Chile and Bolivia. And I think there's also a Chilean Civil War DLC, but I could be wrong. Or not DLC, but game. But Imperial Sunrise, available for anybody who has Strategic Command American Civil War. We are playing as the Japanese. And we're a little ways into the game. It's like a 23 turn campaign. We're probably like 10 or so in. I'd have to go back and double check which turn we're actually on. But we have successfully landed in Korea. Korea has fallen to the Japanese Empire. Although I don't know if it's technically the Japanese Empire yet. We are invading Manchuria at this point. We've crossed the Yalu. We won a small victory over a Russian brigade at Tangoa. And I'm sorry with pronunciations, guys. I'm sure that's not correct. But anyway, we have 3 divisions that are pushing north of this town here. The general plan here is this: there's a single Russian corps at Antung. We destroyed their headquarters earlier this turn. They may counterattack and destroy the 2nd division here. But there's a single Russian corps, which is much stronger than any of these divisions. You can tell a unit strength generally by the number of little characters they have on it. So you can see this chit has 4 characters on it. The divisions have 3, so corps stronger than a division makes sense. But you can see here this corps has badly damaged the 2nd division. We destroyed a Japanese headquarter unit here, but the general objective here is to push slowly with a force here against this corps, maybe destroy the corps, but then a larger force on the right flank, although without artillery, is going to advance up this road. They're going to swing left here, drive north toward Fushan, and then attempt to take Mukden, which is a key rail junction with the Trans-Siberian Railway, which I believe is completed in June historically. It may already be completed. It looks like there's at least some railway here. But it's a key rail junction where the sort of decisive land battle was fought in this war historically. And once we take Mukden, then we'll swing west to take Luoyang and Nuchuang with the goal of cutting off Port Arthur over here in the north end of the Korea Bay. Port Arthur is the key port and objective that Japan wants in this conflict, in addition to control over parts of Manchuria and to eject the Russians from this portion of occupied China. So we are going to do that. We're going to have a right hook while we sort of press on the left. We'll put a big effort on the right hook here. And most of our land forces are already ashore. I don't think I have any units left in Japan. We've transmitted everybody over to Korea. We do have some naval stuff going on. We just destroyed a cruiser in the Sea of Japan that were blockading the port of Niigata. A 2nd cruiser was badly damaged and has pulled back to Vladivostok. There's also at least 1 more fresh cruiser here, so we know at least 2 cruisers out of the port of Vladivostok. In addition to that, there was a Russian fleet at Port Arthur, but we destroyed 4 Russian pre-dreadnought battleships at Port Arthur. We also destroyed some cruisers and a bunch of torpedo boats that were based out of Nuchuang. We've placed some mines here as well. Mines made their really first decisive impact in this conflict. They destroyed, I believe, 2 Russian battleships and really turned the tide of the campaign before the Baltic Fleet shows up. Mines were absolutely critical. There was sort of the initial Japanese surprise torpedo attack at Port Arthur, which was a little bit less successful than I think is commonly portrayed in the conflict. But then when the Russians sallied forth to fight, they ran into minefields that those torpedo boats had laid. And I believe the fleet flagship and also the admiral commanding the Russian squadron were, I want to say that was sunk, and then the commander of the fleet was killed. And the Russians never really recovered. Some of the battleships made it back, but they were damaged, and Arthur didn't have enough facilities to properly refit them, so they were largely bottled up during the siege of Port Arthur. In our case, we laid a minefield. We didn't totally cut off Port Arthur, but we laid a minefield. They act as area denial weapons, so you can't move into a hex with a minefield with a heavy ship. but we laid a minefield. We had one exit left. I didn't really do that deliberately. It was just my own misunderstanding of how mines work in the game. And the enemy flowed through the gap in the minefield, and then it was kind of a fatal funnel where we just obliterated them all. Anyway, yeah, the Japanese, I think, lost a battleship also to mines. Although I don't think it was one of the really, really new ones that the British had just finished building. I can't remember, though. I think it was one of their older ones, wasn't it? Like one that was captured from China during the Sino-Japanese War? Maybe I'm wrong on that. In any event, that's where we sit right now on April 29th, 1904. They are 8-day turns, and we're ready to end the turn. I don't have anything else to do this turn, so let's go ahead and end it and see what the Russians do as we move into May. So you can see we're collecting our income, 233 MPPs. There's no R&D. It's too short of a campaign for that. They're reinforcing their corps at Antong, which kind of gives me more confidence that I should be flanking them like I am. Russian warships blockade. Wait, they're there again? I thought they all pulled back. Oh boy. Battleship spotted. Wait, where's this? The Baltic fleet will leave Europe in October 1904. Is this Europe? Is that what this little... So they're... Okay. So we're still a ways away from that. But I'm assuming this is where the fleet will show up before it leaves. It's some kind of off-map hacks. It doesn't really explain what it is. Okay, so are they still at Nagata? Oh, yes they are. All right, so there are 2 Russian cruisers over here. My fleet is scattered all to hell. How many ships do they have left? They still have 13 ships, although I guess one of those is probably that off-map battleship. All right, so 2 cruisers from their Asiatic squadron. Is that what it was called? Or the East Asia squadron? Whatever it was called. Let's go ahead and send our own cruisers in. Anybody at 10? Anybody at full strength? Not who can reach it. Yeah. My ships are all over the place. All right, so let's do this. Let's bring a fresh torpedo boat down on this guy. I can more cheaply repair the torpedo boat, so I'll take the casualties there. Because what it'll do is it'll weaken the enemy ship. Now, is that everything that they had in Vladivostok? So I don't see any indication that there's any enemy ships left. I wouldn't have thought they would have repaired the one that had been damaged so quickly, but... All right, 4-3. And that actually went very well for me. All right, so now we got an advantage, 9-5, and we sank the enemy cruiser. We get 800 national morale or fighting spirit bonus for that. 5-5 versus the other cruiser here. And it went even better than that for us. Their readiness, their cruisers must have a stat penalty where they're not as good. Because they sure die easy relative to us. And it doesn't seem to be entirely experience based either, because most of our ships are not 1 stars, although that cruiser was the Izumo. Alright. You'll return to Niigata. We cleared the port. 2 more Russian ships sunk. So they're down to 11. We take out losses. So far, they've lost 14 ships. Jesus. That is 4 battleships and 5 cruisers and 5 torpedo boats. So, yeah, their fleet's getting shredded. Can't get any of those ships to harbor, though. You're going to pull back to Amori. I wonder if they have any other cruisers. Like, where are their other ships on map here? If they... I guess they could have been based out of Vladivostok, or however you pronounce that. No one there now. Okay. Any other ships need to repair? These guys repaired last turn, right? Although we can give them elite reinforcements, which might not be a bad idea to give these guys the ships with 1 star to give them elite reinforcements so they're more effective than the Russians when they come back to port. I've already done that with several of my battleships. All right, so they reinforce. So I'm going to pull the 2nd Division back. Let's move our artillery forward to deal with this Russian corps. And then I think we'll move the 3rd Division over here. Well, maybe we should have moved them across the Yalu. I'm not sure. Let's reinforce the units that took casualties, though. I didn't really want to move them across the river. Moving across the river would make it an easier job to attack these enemy troops, but it would also make them more sort of exposed, if you will. So I'm not sure which is the right approach. Our headquarters forward, and then we'll move. I don't have my cavalry in position yet, do I? We'll move them up this way. All right, so our cavalry, the 1st Independent Cavalry Brigade, has detected a Russian brigade to the southwest of our advance. All right. Crap. I just ran headlong into an enemy corps. Should have been using more. My cavalry was too far back to effectively scout there. Hey, Charcoal. Can I reinforce these guys? Let's do that. Reinforce both these units. So we're a little bit strung out here. There is an enemy corps. The 4th side, or I guess it's technically oh yeah, it is a corps. So the 4th Siberian Army loses 40% of its strength. We lost 70. Thankfully, it was the Imperial Guards Division, which was overstrength at 11, and they're a 2-star unit, so they're much better experienced than the 4th Siberians. But we really don't want to lose this division, so hopefully the enemy doesn't have a whole bunch of additional troops sitting back and waiting to attack. We took the town up here at Maikau, and we're going to be driving on Mukden next turn. Supplies this far forward are not great. Ideally, we'd get our headquarters up to Fushan, where they can draw more supply, and then move toward Mukden. I'm guessing they have multiple corps here, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Meanwhile, I don't know that I'm really going to drive on Vladivostok, but I am curious what the enemy might have out that way. So maybe we will try and isolate Vladivostok. I don't think we'll have the forces to take it. There's a fort there. We only have a couple of divisions. We don't have a headquarters unit there. We'll see. All right, meanwhile, I'm pulling my battleships back toward Japan, as it seems like most of the enemy shipping is destroyed that we can find anyway. I don't know that I can bombard any of these guys. I think we're too far off the shore for that. I guess some of the towns might be in bombardment range, but get our torpedo boats back into ports where we can repair them. And get our battleships back toward home waters where we can intercept the Russians when they do show up. All right. Okay, I think that's everybody for this turn. Now, we do have a little bit of money, but I guess not enough to buy a new thing. So, where are they going to come on the map here? I'm assuming in the west, but... All right. Let's end the turn. If the enemy attacks these troops here across the Yalu, we'll be on the defensive side of the river, and we'll also have artillery in support, I think. Hey, Tortuga, how you doing tonight? Burn centers. What are you talking about? Oh, you're okay. Gotcha. But so they pulled the Siberian Corps back. I'm worried that means they're going to bring fresh corps in to fight my vanguard, but apparently not. The Russians are still pretty weak. They get stronger throughout the campaign, per my understanding. So you start off with a major advantage as the Japanese that gets weakened over time as the troops start arriving across the Trans-Siberian Railway. Supply situation in the Straits should be good. It's not great, but... Right, is that all of our battleships all concentrated now? I think it is. All right, let's reinforce here. Full strength. All right, bring the cavalry up. What do you see? All right, we got a corps here, and a headquarters here. So we've got 2 enemy corps south and east of Mukden, and a brigade as well. Can't detect anything else behind that river. We'll reinforce that Imperial Guards division. Try and dislodge this brigade here. I'll put 1 division up north, the 11th here, to block an enemy flanking maneuver should it unfold. We'll use our artillery here to hopefully deal some damage and reduce the entrenchments of this corps opposite of the All right, we'll get the pre-planned attack against the corps here at Antung with the 3rd Division. Move in behind him. And then destroy him. Nice, we destroyed a Russian corps here. That should open the door to the advance on Port Arthur. Move our headquarters forward up toward Antung, and this should open the gateway to Port Arthur, hopefully. I had planned the right hook, but it seems like we were able to break through the lone corps along the Yalu River as well. All right. So see if the enemy lashes forward with their 2 corps. That might be able to blunt our initial thrust toward Mukden with that. They may have additional corps north of Mukden as well, not sure. Hey, we found the enemy cruiser that we had damaged. Torpedo boats can attack ships in harbor in a way that other warships cannot. I'm assuming that's to simulate the Japanese sort of surprise attacks, if you will, against shipping in harbor. So we're going to try and get them. We won't finish them this turn, but I'd like to be able to get enemy shipping and destroy it in port before any of the rest of the fleet shows up. These guys already moved, right? Yeah. Okay. So I don't think Tortuga, that ACW, was bad because, like, so here's where I think I would agree that Strategic Command World War I was the best game in the series. But I don't think they did anything with the American Civil War game that made it worse than World War I. I just think that World War I happens to be a conflict which fits the game's system better than any of the other conflicts that they've modeled, if that makes sense. So it's not a flaw of the game, the World War I game, as much as it is a limitation in the system. If that makes sense. Which I think it does. Sure, but that's not a flaw in the game, Tortuga. It's a flaw in the war that they tried to model, I guess is my point. All right, so it looks like we've got a cavalry division which has joined the corps at Penshu. Well, I'm sorry you disagree. Fundamentally, your quibble is that the scale of the American Civil War is too small for front-wide combat. But they didn't change anything with the game. They just picked a war that doesn't fit with that. And I think front combat makes more sense in the Russo-Japanese War than it does in the American Civil War, to be frank. All right, let's see if we can get this brigade on our flank. We'll take some casualties, and it's a bit of a diversion, but I don't want to leave them on my flank. Oh, come on, cavalry. You're supposed to finish him off. I'm not going to bother protecting my flank anymore. So we took that town. Let's do this. Let's divert one of our divisions up this way. All right, we'll pull 2 divisions north toward Mukden to reinforce the right wing and simultaneously to guard our right flank. Move the other divisions down this road. There's gonna be someone at this town. Let's go ahead and put a naval scout there. This will prevent these troops from being surprised when they show up here, so they won't get penalized for that. I think we'll shift our artillery north too. Field artillery is not going to be as good at fort breaking. These torpedo boats down. Join with the rest of the fleet. Yeah, we still have points. All right, transport for these soldiers, or this headquarters unit, so we can get a 3rd headquarter ashore in Korea. Fastest way is to go in at Pyongyang. That's the closest port. So start moving them that way. Oh no, I ran into a brigade. We did pretty decent damage to them though. We do outnumber them. It's a brigade versus a division, so. Yeah, I don't have a good chance of victory there. We'll go and attack him at port with a torpedo boat here. Wow, that one went well. That torpedo boat needs to get out of Dodge. We'll hit the cruiser with the other with our own cruiser in port. But you can see all it did was damage the supply. Didn't actually hurt the ship. All right, let's reinforce some shipping. Get these cruisers who have been beat up through constant combat refit. Should probably pull these ships into port where they have full supply, like any of these hexes where they have full supply in close to the shore, just because supply does affect things. I don't know if that's realistic for naval. I mean, I guess it is in a sense. Extended patrols and waters far from home would wear you down, but okay. All right, so it looks like there's just a lone brigade, or 2 brigades, I guess, out front of Arthur. I just ran my torpedo boat through multiple minefields and they sank. They were in my own minefields too. Oh, that was dumb. All right, let's end the turn. I don't really have anything else to do. We'll see what the Russians do. I'm assuming if we take the various fighting spirit objectives north of Port Arthur, it considers the port cut off and gradually starves. Because Port Arthur wasn't taken by an initial assault, it was taken over time. And Russian reinforcements are showing up in the form of large corps of troops. Look at all of these corps-size units. All I have is divisions. Eee. All right. Gotta reinforce these guys. Yep. Attacking these divisions makes no sense at the moment. That's true, Tortuga, but we weren't going to record for like another hour, right? Which knowing us means we wouldn't have finished it for till like 2 a.m. my time. God damn it. Losing that torpedo boat sucks. Ah! So many brigades. Technically, we've now cut off Port Arthur, although I don't know that the game considers that as such at the moment. So these guys are gonna, I feel like we should, this guy's in a real bad situation. He's dug in a little bit, but he's, are any of these? I don't know if moving the headquarters to a non-base hex is smart. It looks like it actually, supply will get worse. Although I wonder if we station him here next turn, if it'll work. Ow! Stupid meeting engagements. Alright, we got some siege guns. It should go a long way to helping at Port Arthur. Is there any port I can unload them at? Nothing nearby. They all got to make the long march. Right, we're going to move. Can I force march headquarters? It'd be nice if I could. Doesn't look like it can, though. So it's going to take a while to bring these guns up. Let's see if we can get a free attack on this headquarters. We did. Kropotkin's headquarters. All right, so we're going to damage the enemy headquarters at least. I don't know if that was smart, but move troops around, attack the headquarters twice, take out 40% of its strength, and see what the other 4 corps do. Meanwhile, Navy. What are you doing, Navy? Is everybody upgraded who can? You don't have 1 star. Okay, so these torpedo boats don't. That battleship can't. Okay, so yeah, all these ships are... all the ones there that can upgrade have upgraded. Neither of these cruisers can upgrade. Repair that guy. Repair this guy. Presumably the enemy cruiser fell back to Vladivostok, and they actually fell back to a spot in the port I can't attack, so they're gonna reinforce. So we're gonna pull these guys back to home waters where they can reinforce. Okay. All right, the enemy has how many ships now? 11? At least one of them was over here. Okay, let's see what they do with the brigade up here. And I think that's everything I can do with everybody. I don't have enough money to buy any new units. So we'll end the turn. Unless these guys... no, we can't finish off that brigade. All right. Japan collects 247. All right, they're going to pull the headquarters back, and they're going to attack with their corps against my lead element. They did some damage, but not without some losses of their own. I don't know if they're going to move any of the other corps. I'm assuming they're going to keep getting more and more troops along near Mukden, as it is, I believe, a terminus for part of the Trans-Siberian Railway. All right, 1-4 against this exposed brigade north of Port Arthur. Let's see if we can destroy it. Got it. Let's make sure there's not another... All right, not another enemy corps there, so we'll advance down the railway here. Great if we could take Nuchang. Headquarters is going to try... what if we position here? Rain makes it difficult to... it does get a 10 because there's a headquarters in a city, but it's not great. We're going to attack the Corn Mukden. See if we can destroy one of their corps. Fuck. Across the river, right into the teeth of another enemy corps. That's what you have cavalry for that I didn't use. This corps is toast probably next turn. I was hoping to finish the 16th Corps here in Mukden itself. Our siege guns up. Reinforce our ships. We've got the one torpedo boat in Japanese home waters. I know I'm leaving the northern coast of Japan undefended. It's probably not smart. Alright, I think that's all the repairing of our fleet, though. So we'll be about as ready for the Japanese as ever. I mean, not the Japanese, for the Russians. Yeah, all right. Well, at least I doubt the 16th Corps will attack. They'll probably pull the 16th back and reform it. The 7th might attack here just because it's got such an advantage, but we'll see. They've got a lot of troops in this area. We have shot to hell the Don Cossacks Cavalry Division at least. And we're slowly working our way in on Port Arthur, although they have siege guns in there in defense. Kropotkin in World War I set up a night assault using searchlights to blind the Germans, except they backlit and highlighted the Russians. Golf clap. Hey, listen, sometimes something that sounds great on paper doesn't quite work out. So the base game is the Strategic Command American Civil War Sholo, but this is a free DLC. If you own the game, you get a Russo-Japanese war scenario. Right, so surprisingly, the Russians didn't attack. They kept the 16th Corps in Mukden, which I think is a mistake because you can see when you reinforce a unit, you lose a lot of readiness and morale as you bring in green recruits. So ideally, you don't want to do that when you're still on the front lines. And when you are adjacent to an enemy, your first attack gets a preparation bonus, so you actually get a better attack if you're not moving before you attack. And so you can see I've got a huge advantage with the 4th Division to launch an attack there, 2-5. So that was a very successful attack for a division attacking a corps. Then even the Imperial Guard Division here can launch an attack and shatter what's left of that corps. And then we took Mukden, which is one of the key objectives in the campaign. We will try to reinforce and make sure that we hold that. I'm assuming they're not going to attack Fushan and the 11th Division here. I'm hoping they don't attack the Imperial Guards Corps, although they could, to try and encircle Mukden, which we just took. They've got another corps to the south, which I'm going to hopefully weaken here greatly. We had an artillery bombardment with our field artillery, and then the 6th Division launched an attack against the Russian 4th Army, which did some damage. Maybe not as much as I had hoped. Okay. Especially since that unit was down to like 2 or 3 and then they kept it in place while they reinforce. That is not what I would do. I'll just say that. Alright, we'll attack this brigade here on the southern end of the line. We'll weaken it. We won't destroy it. Okay. All right, I need to move this corps up into Fushan or Mukden to get our supply situation better, but this should be a big victory for us even taking Mukden at all. I don't know if that Russian cruiser's still back there or what they're doing. There's no upgrades because there's no tech. AI gonna AI. Hey, I was told AI was ready to take over the world. Was I lied to? We still have 116 economic points left, but not really anything to do with it. I did weaken one of the corps south of Mukden. I also put a division between us and the 2 to 5. I'll do that. Okay, so we nearly crippled the 4th corps. So we defeated one corps and nearly crippled another. That leaves at least 2 more fresh corps that we saw the other turn. Oh boy. My 2-year-old just woke up screaming. Alright, so hopefully she lays down soon. We'll see. Alright, so let's end the turn. The fall of Mukden reduces Russian fighting spirit. Goddamn right it does. There's the cruiser. One of them. All right, they're reinforcing that brigade that we nearly defeated on the southeastern flank at Port Arthur. Moving some troops around there. Ooh, some Russian artillery arrived. Some of the stuff must be railing in. That's got decent readiness. Okay. So we're going to need to do some reinforcement of these units here before we attack any further. So this is really just going to be a reinforcement turn, I guess. Let's move our siege artillery forward. How can these guys not reinforce here? Is their supply really that bad? Did I place a new headquarters? Yeah, it needs to be. Well, I spent all my points, but I need to get them across because I need more. I need more headquarters. All right, we're going to attack there 1 to 4. Man, that division that's dug in at New Chang is sure tricky. 3 to 7, I'll take those odds every day of the week. Japanese divisions fight way more efficiently than Russian ones. Than Russian corps. Should have hit them with artillery first, though. That would have made the attack even better. Wow, even despite all that reinforcing and only attacking with 1 division, we nearly destroyed the Eastern Detachment, which is a corps. It's too bad I had to waste the turn reinforcing. Conscripts, baby. Yeah, I guess. What they lack in firepower, they make up for in numbers, right? I really just want to finish off every Russian warship I can before the rest of the fleet shows up. I'm assuming they will show up where they did historically, coming through the Tsushima Strait, coming from the west. Okay. They may try and send that cruiser out of port, but I'm guessing because it took 50% casualties, they'll spend the next turn repairing. All right, so let's end this turn and move forward another one. Yeah, if the there was that whole war scare with the Brits. All right, so they're reinforcing some of their units. Wow, the Port Arthur artillery actually hurt me. Theoretically, Port Arthur should be cut off from supply at this point. There we go. We drove them out of that town. Oh, crap. So we got one closer. To Port Arthur. Siege guns can move forward. Reinforce a couple of the units. And now we're nearing the final defenses. Okay, I need to see... What can my cavalry see? Alright, wow, 2 corps back this way. So there's a lot of firepower back west of Mukden. I feel like because we took the town early, we kind of... took advantage of... I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I feel like because we took it early, that's not where the decisive battle will be. Meanwhile, we just destroyed the Eastern Detachment Corps. Knew there'd be a corps there and didn't want to move there just because of that, but I did it anyway. And there's a corps to the east of us, too. Okay. All right. Hopefully they don't try and attack either of these divisions that they just shot up pretty badly. Because I really need these guys in these positions. I'm going to put this headquarters at Talisu, and then I think my assault on Port Arthur will have better odds. I like how it sounds like they're firing a torpedo at a land target. Well... Let's go find the enemy cruiser. He's still here, and he did reinforce. I don't know that we can do enough damage to him with these ships. We're going to take a lot of valuable damage. And what I mean by that is it's going to take a fair bit of money to replace our losses here, but we'll keep the pressure up on the Russian cruiser here in port. Yeah. We lost a considerable amount of our force and did not sink him. But it'll at least keep him tied up in port for another turn. No raiding of our shipping. We'll send these other torpedo boats north. Maybe they can help ensure we get them. Okay. Oh, we also have that new artillery piece. And then I've got that other headquarter unit I need to move across. I don't know which route's better. The coast? If I took New Chang, I could bring them right up there, but instead they're going to have to spend a couple of weeks marching. But in any event, that'll do it for the September 4th turn. Let's move forward one more and see what we have in store for us. Just waiting for the large-scale Russian counterattack, but it hasn't come yet. Oh, but there's a flank move coming in at Maiku. They could be trying to cut off our drive here. More Russian ships are appearing. Ooh, we got a new cruiser. Heck yeah. Okay, oops, don't do that. That was not what I wanted you to do. And you wasted your turn. Okay. We're gonna force march these guys back south, and they're gonna move up to support. These guys need to reinforce. Can we? Nice. 2 to 7. Ended up being 3 to 6, but we got another Russian corps. Hell yeah. At this point, it's just sort of an attrition fight, right? Like, just do what you can to weaken them over time. Be nice if the rain would stop, though. Reinforce those boys, get our headquarter out this way. Siege guns in position. Keep the pressure up at New Chang. Get our... I have no more money left to transport you, damn it! Hey JD, yeah, it's been a while. It's been like almost a month, right? Or at least 3 weeks, I think. Can I have more than one shell for the siege artillery? I don't know. Nice. A free attack there against that brigade. Took 50% of its strength. Probably can finish it off next turn based on that result. Alright, slightly better supply next turn, then we're going to shift this headquarter elsewhere, I think. Okay, so we reinforced the guys that were fighting the corps near Mukden. We also destroyed another Russian corps here. Their ground units still equal us, so they're getting reinforcements. We don't really know what they're bringing toward Maiku, but we at least brought one corps in to protect our immediate supply line, or one division, and we'll bring another one in soon. Let's end this turn, I think. Maybe? Yeah. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to buy a new unit. Alright, so they're going to reinforce there and shell our troops. They actually did a little bit of damage with the Port Arthur guns. Looks like there's a corps near Vladivostok there that we just saw. They stopped their drive into our flank over here with our division that moved that way. All right, everybody, I'm going to jump in here and we're going to wrap this episode up. We've got about one more episode worth of gameplay left to come. We have successfully taken Mukden, but we do have to drive all the way north to Harbin. Additional Russian reinforcements are arriving, and we still have to take Port Arthur and deal with the arrival of the Baltic Fleet. That all to come in the next episode. Until then, however, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. This was Strategic Command American Civil War by Fury Software and published by Matrix and Slytherin Games. And I am the Historical Gamer. But until next time, thank you once again for watching. And until next time, I'm out. Bye-bye.